For most of history, Greenland was just this frozen footnote in global affairs, a huge, empty space on the map. But right now, something's changed. The world's biggest superpowers are locked in this incredibly high-stakes race to control it. And you have to ask why. Because this massive island of ice, well, it might just hold the keys to the future of technology, military power, and even global trade itself.
So really, what's the big deal? Why is this vast, icy wilderness suddenly the epicenter of a geopolitical storm? Now, the obsession itself isn't totally new, but the urgency, that's off the charts. I mean, when you have a former US president talking openly about just buying an entire country and not exactly ruling out force to get it, you have to wonder, what incredible prize is hiding there?
And that's the thing, right? On the surface, it makes absolutely zero sense. A full 80% of Greenland is buried under an ice sheet that's 2 kilometers thick. Temperatures regularly drop to -30°C. It is, by any measure, one of the most hostile places on Earth. And get this, its population is tiny, just 57,000 people, mostly living right on the coast. That's smaller than a lot of towns. So what is the secret that's hidden under all that ice? Well, here's the first twist. This whole thing, it's not a new obsession at all. For the United States, getting control of Greenland has been a quiet, strategic goal for over 100 years. Just take a look at this timeline. It's kind of wild. The ambition goes all the way back to 1867, right after the US snapped up Alaska from Russia. They tried again in 1910. During World War II, America basically took over its security to make sure it didn't fall into Nazi hands. And then in 1946, President Truman offered Denmark what would be over $1 billion today in solid gold. And every single time, the answer was a hard no. And that quote right there, that really brings us back to today and that much more aggressive attitude. So what's the deal? What changed? Why has this long simmering ambition suddenly boiled over into a global crisis? Well, the answer really comes in 3 different layers. The first part of the answer is pretty simple. Treasure. A mind-boggling fortune in natural resources just waiting to be unlocked from deep beneath the ice. And we're not talking about just, gold or silver. We're talking about something far more valuable for the 21st century, rare earth elements. People call them the oxygen of all future tech for a reason. You need neodymium for the powerful magnets in every electric car and wind turbine. You need gallium for the AI chips and advanced radar systems that are going to define our future. Uranium for nuclear power, silicon for semiconductors. Literally, the building blocks of tomorrow are all right here. And this chart, this just says it all. Right now, China basically has a monopoly. We're talking 90% of the world's supply. And yeah, they've already used that power, cutting off exports to put pressure on other countries. So whoever gets Greenland's resources, they could completely break that chokehold forever. Oh, and that's not even everything. On top of all those minerals, we're talking about an estimated 31 billion barrels of oil, and that's just under the northeast corner of the island. But believe it or not, even with all this treasure, that's still only part of the story. All right, so the second big reason, it's all about location, location, location. Greenland is, without a doubt, the strategic heart of the Arctic. It's prime real estate for military power and communications. So let's break this down. You've got 2 huge assets here. First, way up at the top of the world, is Thule Air Base. Think of it as the planet's doorbell for any missiles coming over the North Pole from Russia. It's the first line of defense. And then, deep under the ocean, you have the fiber optic cables that are literally the internet, connecting all of North America and Europe. And with Russian ghost vessels known to be snooping around down there, protecting those cables is an absolute top priority. Okay. So, incredible riches, a supercritical military base. That's it, right? Case closed? Nope, not even close. Because the ultimate prize, the real game changer that has every superpower scrambling, is something that until very recently didn't even exist. And here it is, the ultimate prize, a brand new global highway. See, for all of human history, the Arctic was just this impassable wall of ice. But now, it's melting. And as it melts, it's opening up this incredible new shipping shortcut between Asia and Europe. And Greenland, it sits right at the front door. And the difference this makes is just huge. Look at this. A ship going from Shanghai to London the old way, through the Suez Canal, that's a 20,000-kilometer journey. Through the new Arctic Northwest Passage, you cut that almost in half. We're talking about saving weeks of travel time and literally millions of dollars in fuel costs on every single trip. And that right there is why the race is on. You've got Russia trying to control and basically tax its own Arctic route. You've got China planning this massive polar Silk Road to secure a path for all its goods. And then there's the US absolutely terrified of getting shut out of this new global trade system, one that would be controlled by its two biggest rivals. It all comes down to this. It's so simple. Whoever controls Greenland controls the toll plaza for this entire new global highway. And we're not talking about some far-off sci-fi future. Experts believe this route will be fully up and running within just the next 10 to 20 years. So let's put it all together. You've got the treasure under the ice, you've got the vital military base, and you have the keys to a new global highway. When you add all that up, you start to see why the stakes are just stratospherically high. This isn't about some remote island anymore. This is about who runs the world. Because think about what happens if things go wrong. If the US makes an aggressive move, what happens then? Denmark, which administers Greenland, is a founding member of NATO. An attack on one is an attack on all. You could literally see the collapse of the entire NATO alliance. Trust between the US and Europe would be shattered. And that's not even getting into the massive environmental damage from large-scale mining, or what would happen to the unique culture and freedom of the 57,000 people who actually call Greenland home. So as the ice melts away, it's revealing this whole new world of both incredible opportunity and terrifying danger. So what's it going to be? Is Greenland going to become a model for peaceful international cooperation in a new age? Or could the mad dash for its treasures become the spark that ignites the next world war? The fate of this one remote, icy island? Well, it might just determine the course of the 21st century.